Hey everybody. I'm going to call today's vlog, Worry Takes a Holiday. I had the greatest day today. I just decided, well, first of all, I woke up to discover that I didn't win the Inn in Maine, and I wasn't in the top 20 finalists of, 8,500 or how many there were. So, woo, that was a huge load off my mind. I don't have to worry about moving to Maine. Okay, proceed. So I slept late and I got up and I washed my hair, continuing to lose a little color, but that's okay. It's sort of fading to this nice soft amethyst, which is cool. And I sat down here at my desk at, 10:30 or something in the morning, and I thought, you know what? Today is going to be all about just having fun. So, in the interest of just having fun, I decided to do some paper crafting. I took this book that's an old, obsolete library book. It's called Vegas Sunrise by Fern Michaels. And I ripped out, I'll show you. I ripped out 8-page sections, and then I'd keep 2 pages and another 8-page section, and then I glued the 2 pages together so I had these thick pages. Then I thought, well, okay, in order to get it ready for turning it into an altered book, I would go ahead and put like dimensional fabric paint to sort of stiffen the pages. So I started to do this is going to be kind of the background colors for the decorations and other things that are going to go on top of all of this. So I'm just painting these a little bit as I go. Whenever I sit down here at the desk, I'll, open it up to the next set. I put saran wrap underneath these two, and I take a little bit of this ancient Scribbles dimensional paint that I probably had for, years and years. And I just mix up different colors. I've got some glitter here, pink, blue, orange, gold, blah, blah. And I squirt it onto this piece of cardboard. And I take this AARP fake card that came in the mail from my dad, who's been dead for 3 years. And I just kind of, slap it on with the card. So, I am in the process of making an altered book. Then I had left over all of these book pages, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to throw those out. I can do something fun with those. So I thought, and after a while I thought, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll make real thick sections that I can paint and maybe cut out a shape. So I started gluing these together, gluing them in the center, smashing them down, and I ended up with pages like this that I then painted a little something on the top. They're all different. Some are dark and some are glittery. They're just different. I did, blue, pink, green, blah, blah, blah. And then I cut myself out a template using the back of an envelope. I made this heart, and I traced it onto these things. I cut around it a little bit to the outside, of the heart. I didn't cut right on the cutting line. And then what I did was I took a pair of those, scrapbooking scissors that make a little scallop, and I ended up with hearts like this. Now let me tell you how this happened. First I started cutting from the tip. I cut around almost to the inside, almost to the end here. I did the other thing around almost to the end, and then I was trying to pull these things off and they wouldn't pull off because the glue had them all stuck. I thought, well, shoot, what can I do with those little thingies that are just hanging out in space? And I thought, I know, I'll turn it into a bow. So that's what I did. So all of these, I've got 2 left from the project that you see behind me there. And so all of them ended up with these little bows. So I had all these little hearts and bows, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with those? And I thought, I know, Mama is moving to a new place on Wednesday, and they, all the residents of this, nice retirement community, they often will decorate their doors, with something, a wreath or something. And I thought, I'm going to make Mama a welcome sign. So what you see behind me, I'm going to see if I can't bring this in, is what I created for her. Oh yeah, looks like I can bring it in maybe. I created this for her today. Let's see, there we go. And as you can see, it says, welcome. Isn't that cool? I don't know if I can get you any closer. Let's see. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now you can really take a look at those hearts. And what I did was I cut out little circles just of cardstock, and I used the Tim Holtz, I think his name's Tim Holtz. Oh, you know that stamp pad that makes everything look kind of crusty. And, well, this is weird, sorry. And I'll just focus in on one of them. Whoa, that's hard to do when you're doing such a macro. Anyhow, and then I stamped all the letters, obviously, and glued those on. And then I took and I put one of those little flowers like I made with the cheesecloth in the center, glued that down, and then I glued down buttons and pearls and different things in the center of each one of those, as you can see. So we're going to come back out of there again. Let's see, other direction. And we're going to zoom out, and out we go, and there you go. So anyhow, that is what I decided to do. And it was real fun. I had so much fun. And everything I used was something that would have normally been thrown out, like you saw it was being held together by a piece of twine type rope. And that twine type rope had come tying something together in some package that I bought. I can't remember what it was. It was something real industrial that you would normally throw out. And I untied the deal and I'm like, I can use this rope for something someday. So anyhow, that's what I did. And then I ended up with 2 extras of these. And I was thinking, well, okay, what else can I make? And then I thought it would be really fun to make these cute little heart little banners. Oh, they're darling. But then customize them. And you can have any phrase, any name, any word you want, and I'll make them for you. I thought that would be fun. And then I also thought it would be fun to do like a layer up like the hearts and with stamps and different things on them, and do cards and stuff. I thought that would be really fun. So I'm just sort of playing with junk. Now, something really interesting happened. I've got an absolutely monstrously huge supply of old magazines. I mean, I must have 10 or 12 banker's boxes full. I gotta take a drink, hang on. This isn't a drink, it's tea and cranberry juice. You cannot imagine how hot and muggy it is here tonight. I mean, it's awful. Our air conditioner doesn't work. I had to close the doors because I had June bugs flying in and buzzing all around my hair. Oh, I hate June bugs. Oh, they're the devil insect. So anyhow, I had to close up all the doors. Speaking of June bugs, is there anything on my ceiling? Every once in a while, I'll have something fly into my hair, and it'll fly down from the ceiling, so I have to keep watch on the ceiling. Yeah, it's like a jungle in here. Anyhow, so I've got this monstrous collection of magazines, and I just happen to have a few of them here in the, boxes behind me. So I went looking, and I thought, oh, look what I found. I can cut this up and do some neat stuff. And I have a lot of these. I mean, this isn't the only one I have. This is probably one of 20 of these old travel magazines from the 1930s. And so I'm flipping through, and I found something kind of cool, and I pulled out a page and I cut something out, and it ended up not working, so I pulled it apart. And then I kind of got sidetracked reading this magazine, and I came to an article that is just captivated me, and I've been doing some research about this today, trying to find info about these people. these people. Let me show you this. The name of this article is Sons of the Stone Age. And you'll see this beautiful picture of this young girl with her face painted. And that face painting, the little blurb tells you that it marks her as one of the butterfly clan of this tribe. These people, maybe you guys are more well-read than I am and you know about them. This is the first I'd ever heard of them. They're called the Seri, S-E-R-I, people who live in, or lived in, I guess there's some left, but back in 1930 there were still quite a few people in the tribe left. They lived in on an island called Tiburon Island in the Gulf of California. Tiburon means shark. And they, at least until the 1950s, but like I said, this was written 20 years before then, they were literally still in the Stone Age. I mean, they were almost pre-Stone Age in that they used tools at that time in the 1930s, but they didn't modify the tools, if you know what I mean. In other words, if they chipped off a piece of rock to use as an arrowhead, they would just take the piece as it was chipped. They didn't do any, what's that called, lapidary? I don't know what it's called when you chip stone. They didn't do that. And so they would tie it onto their arrow, and that's what they used. Sometimes they would use slivers of wood. Sometimes they would use a piece of a shell or a bone. But they didn't, like I said, they didn't alter their tools, which is fascinating. They didn't have knives. The closest they had to a knife at this time was like part of a clamshell if it had broken. They ate most of their food raw. They lived on sea turtles, cactus, and each other. I mean, when they would fight, they would eat the people that they ended up killing. I mean, fight between themselves. Anytime the white man, or any other sort of man, tried to invade their island, they weren't successful. In part because of this really interesting defense mechanism. In their culture, the ground squirrel, which I consider a complete varmint, the ground squirrel is revered. You're not allowed to kill him, you weren't allowed to eat him, you weren't allowed to mess with him, you had to just leave him alone. So, if all y'all know about ground squirrels, you know what happens. When their populations are not being kept in check, they make awful holes in all of your land, your trees die, you get sinkholes, hillsides wash away because they make this labyrinth of holes all up under your ground. Plus they carry plague and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is how it worked as defense. On this island, basically all around where these people would live, the ground squirrels had so destroyed destroy, I guess it's a relative term, but from my perspective, destroyed the ground that you couldn't ride a horse across their perimeter. You'd have to walk your horse very carefully because horses would, the Spaniards would come in trying to ride their horses and vanquish these dudes, and their horses would, keel over with broken legs, and then the Spaniards would get killed and eaten, and these people just defiantly refused to be assimilated. They fascinated me. I mean, they fascinate me for a lot of reasons, but one thing they were talking about is this. It's the idea that they have what's probably the purest form of democratic government. Anybody who's 12 years old or older has the right to make a statement about anything that has come up. It's ruled by consensus. They do have leaders, but the leaders are elected by everybody else. There's no natural lineage of their leaders. It is still was still a matriarchal government, although the tribal leader that was elected was male. All inheritances, I'm reading this as I'm talking to you. And dowries, so to speak, went from the man to the woman. In other words, when two people married, all of whatever the man owned would become his wife's property, and he would move to his wife's hut or family or whatever. They don't seem to didn't seem to understand the concept of hospitality. In other words, food was never offered to the guys who went in here and took these photos and wrote this. They were never offered anything. They were treated just like separate individuals that if you're going to drink and eat, you got to figure it out on your own. People would also, in this society, they walk up to one another and pretty much just take what they want. It's fascinating to read this. And there's so much more. I mean, I'd like to just read the article to you, but I won't bore you with it. Anyway, so I went to the internet and looked, and apparently, even though their island is now a land preserve, they still live they don't live on the island anymore, at least according to the internet, but they still live on some of their mainland lands that were right across from the island. And from the sound of what I read, the Mexican government is still pretty careful about dealing with these people. They're still pretty much left alone. And of course, a lot of stuff has been assimilated into their culture from Western culture. For example, most of them now are called Catholics. Whether they actually practice Catholicism the way the Spaniards do, I don't know, or the Mexicans now do, I don't know, or if it's an amalgam of Catholicism and their, I guess pagan, they would be pagan. As I understand paganism, I think you would call them pagan. If some of those beliefs got, worked in there. I don't know how many of these people there are left. At the time this was written in 1930, there were about 7,500 of them left. So, and there are still some of them left, but I don't know if there's any left that are still pure in terms of their genetic lineage, or if their culture has pretty much died out. I don't know. But you know what? I'm going to find out because they fascinated me. A couple of the interesting things they do is the men don't adorn themselves, but the women do, and they adorn themselves by painting their faces to represent the totem of their clan. And in the picture of the little girl we saw that I just showed you, she had all these lines on her face and a line here to represent her belonging to the clan of the butterfly. There's a clan of the pelican, which is their kind of their national animal is the pelican, strangely. And then there's a sea turtle clan, and there's different clans. Anyhow, so they're very closely linked to their animal totems, but their overall animal totem as well as the different clans' animal totems. And they make these robes out of pelicans. They'll kill the pelican, skin it, they would eat it, and then they would tan the hide with the feathers left on. And these robes were worn by the women in the culture. Generally starting with all the older women had them, and then as there were extras, they would go down to younger women would be allowed to wear them. So, interesting. So, I went on a little armchair travel journey today. That was cool. Let's see, what else do I want to do? Oh, I know, I want to show you some. I don't normally do empties videos like I've said before, but I do kind of like to tell you what I finished up and how I feel about it. I finished up this Suave, I've got hair in my mouth, hang on. Ah. Okay, what is that? Oh, just my old gray hairs. Okay, the Suave Mango Mandarin Body Wash. Now, I don't use it as a body wash, I use it as a bubble bath. Works great, smells wonderful, and is super cheap. So that was kind of neat. Another thing I've just about finished up is this, and I am going to buy again, is this Fructis Damage Eraser. It's just light leave-on conditioner, supposedly for your ends. Split end bandage, they call it. I just get a wad of it and stick it in my hair, and and it actually makes the ends of my hair feel really, really good. So I'm going to buy more of that. This is something I'm just about ready to finish. It came as a sample from Pinch Me, which one of you guys, one of my subscribers did a video on places you can get free stuff, and Pinch Me was one of them. And basically you go on at some, I don't know what time, here I guess it is Tuesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you get to fill your little samples box. Good luck. I mean, the stuff it's gone within minutes. But one morning I got on and I managed to get this Gold Bond Strength and Resilience with Protein and Lipids for aging and mature skin. Just a hand cream, and oh my goodness, this stuff smells wonderful and it feels wonderful. They also make it in an aloe, and presumably others as well. I got the sample for the aloe. I like it. I will probably end up buying this stuff. I like it so much. So, bravo, Pinch Me and Gold Bond. You managed to actually sell me with your little sample. It's not a little sample. I mean, that's a nice big sample. Let's see here. What else? Oh, again, I got to order some more of this mini BB stuff. I love it. But until then, I have kind of made something, it's not similar, but I've made something that I can spray on. And all it is some tap water. And we're on a well, incidentally, so this isn't like municipal water. This is well water. And our well's very, very deep, so the water is very good. Anyhow, all it is water with a few sprays. Well, actually 8 sprays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right down into this bottle of water. Shake it up. And then it becomes my, oh my gosh, I'm so hot. I have got to spray myself with something, lifesaver. And I spray my hair because it makes it nice and curly. And I spray my neck and I spray my face. And I just love it. And it's wonderful. And I do that during the day when I'm sitting here. And it's just really neat. So there you go. I'm loving my little spray bottle. Is that all I have to show you? I do believe that's it. So, and the last thing I want to say is this. Now this will probably end up being the title of this video, ironically. We have had a shift. I feel it, and I'm seeing it on everybody's, well, not everybody, but most of all y'all are churning out these videos that show you being so, relaxed. You're happy. Good things are happening in your families. Tonight I watched Disruptive Girl and her video about going to the movies with her kids, and how her sons were singing in harmony on the way home, and how she was having one of those mom moments that all moms have at one point or the other, where you're like, I don't want anything to change. It is perfect right now. Remember this moment of perfection. She had one of those moments, maybe even more than one, with her kids, and that was great. And so she's looking up and having fun, and life's looking up for her. Leanne Live did a wonderful video. She'd gone to, it was a long vlog. I've only gotten through half of it, but I want to see the rest. She'd gone to what appeared to be like a county fair somewhere near where she lives. And she's showing all the old people her new vlogging camera, and did this great thing on quilts and on the artworks that she saw. That's about as far as I've gotten through it. And she seemed real happy and relaxed. And this is just, I'm just seeing this coming more and more from so many of us who came out of that whole last month funk that so many people seem to be in. Yeah, we're kind of coming out of that. We're feeling lighter and more centered and more grounded, and all of those other, pop, psych, metaphysical, new age things. Well, we're feeling all those things. At least a lot of us are. And those of us that aren't, it'll pass. It will pass. And it was going to feel so good when it passes. So yeah, that's really neat that that's going on. So I just wanted to share my lovely day sitting here with you. Oh, I want to show you something else. I'm going to walk out of frame. Hang on. Okay, so I told you that I'd cut out all the little hearts, right? But I had the little frames left with a heart. So this is what I've done so far. I took a Trader Joe's bag. I cut it into a big rectangle, and I've glued down the 9 hearts that I had cut out. To start making some piece of artwork. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know what's going to end up inside the hearts. I don't know how I'm going to adorn it or how I'm going to display it. I have no freaking idea. This is a work in progress, and we will just we'll just find out. I have a feeling it's going to include some vintage photographs, some found objects, a whole mess of Mod Podge, and yeah, and we'll see what else I'm going to put on it. My husband, God bless him, he's on his way home right now from Nebraska. He's on the train, and he'll be here tomorrow night at 8, and I cannot wait. Anyhow, he called me and says, "Hey, honey," he says, "I found this stuff I think you might like." I said, "Okay, what is it?" He said, "Well, my father-in-law had saved all of these little brass plates with numbers on them that came off of lockers. Is that cool?" And so he said, I found a bunch of them, and I was thinking, he said, "I thought of you when I saw these little brass discs with numbers on them." He said, "Do you want them?" Does a bear shit in the woods? Absolutely, I want them. So he's bringing these things home for me, and that was just so sweet. That's the kind of man he is. I mean, he thinks about me and things that would make me happy all the time. And it honestly does not get any better than that. It really doesn't. So on that happy note, I'm going to say goodbye and probably film a few more videos. Love you guys. Bye.